So congratulations, you just finished your first exercise. The first exercise is called First Impressions. So what you just experienced is something that you experience all the time. Do you find yourselves going into social environments and having some brief period of time to connect with people? Is that something that you do, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Are some people more effective at that than others, yes or no?
Yes.
Is it an important skill, yes or no?
Yes.
Have you ever been freaking trained, yes or no? Clueless. Clueless. So now we're going to actually examine this. By the way, how long do you think people wait before they form an opinion about you? How long do you think they wait? Seconds. Take a look at something. Every time you walk out the door, you're in a constant conversation. The conversation is called, what do I like? So you walk out into weather and you're like, how does it feel? Do I like that? Every time you go take a bite of food, you're like, oh, do I like that? Every time you walk by a person, you're thinking, do I like them? It is an always going on conversation that you're in. It is a part of your survival. And it happens really quickly. Now, the example that I use, forgive me, let me just take a chair so I may give an actual example. So bear with me for a moment. So my question is, when was the last time you went on a sales call? Someone set up the meeting for you, never met the person, right? So you never met the person, you walk in, right? And the person says, you're Sarano, right? I'm you're Sarano. So I come in, right? And I'm like, Sarano, you must be Sarano.
Yes.
Hey, listen, I know we just met and all, but I can tell already, I really don't much like you. Now, ordinarily to be polite, I just sit here and go, I let you do your little pitch, right? And then I go, oh my gosh, I forgot. I've got a meeting. How could I forget? You know what? Call my assistant, we'll get back together. I'll dodge you. You'll never reach me again. Or you could just leave now. Which would you prefer? How often does that ever happen to you in a sales call? Has that ever happened to you? That's never happened to you. How many times have you stood across a showroom floor, sat across a desk while someone pitched you, and you knew full well that the answer was no? Have you done that fairly frequently, yes or no?
Yes.
How often do you think it's happening to you? Oh, not you, you're special. You're not that special. If someone decides that they don't like you, they're not going to get up and leave the meeting because that would be rude. You know what they're doing? They're collecting evidence as they listen that will justify why they shouldn't work with you. The direction of their thinking is determined by the initial interaction. They're not going to jump up and leave. That would be rude. They themselves are kind of unconscious. But they can't help but notice as you're talking all the things that seem to count against you. Funny how they always turn out to be right. You know what happens if people like you, to show you how utterly mechanical this is? They will start collecting evidence to justify an emotional decision. No one's going to go home and say, hey, honey, I decided to, send 20 million to, John. And she's like, why? I like him. That's probably not going to go well, right? You want to notice, you don't do business with people that you don't like.